If you decided to tackle the German language, I as a German want to give you my respect, because it is a hard language, depending on what language you're coming from. It is similar like with animals, because depending on their species, sometimes have similar character traits, and sometimes they are totally different. Let's take galahs and cockatoos, two Australian birds. They are not the same species, but they are very similar, because they are birds. Whereas a tiger and a cockatoo don't have so much in common. And it is the same with languages. English and German are very similar because they're European languages. If we go further to the east, German and Russian, yeah, different alphabet, but still many similarities. And then let's take Chinese and German. They are very different, but even there you find similar concepts. So wherever you're from, this video will give you some clarity over this very logical and rule-based language. So the first easy point about the German language is that we have got heaps of compound words, which are very easy to learn. They consist of two words that totally make sense. For example, Vet means Tierarzt. Tier means animal and Arzt means doctor. Makes sense. Then a bit of a longer word, you can try to pronounce it. Geschwindigkeitsbegrenzung. Looks complicated, but if you split it into the two words, Geschwindigkeit or Geschwindigkeit means speed. Begrenzung means limitation, so speed limit. Flugzeug, flying thing. Zeug literally means something like stuff, like in Chinese 东西, but in Chinese Flugzeug is 飞机. Very similar, flying machine. So this is going to be very easy for you to learn heaps of vocabulary. Secondly, in English we use lots of English, especially in youth slang. We use words like weird or sus or cringe. There is even a TV show in Germany that gather yearly youth slang and decide for one youth word of the year.
Smash, wild, slay, sus.
Thirdly, we have lots of similar sounding words, so-called cognates. Allein means alone, sounds similar. Blau means blue, and sometimes they are even spelled exactly the same way. Finger means finger. Hand means hand. You can even find whole lists on the web with cognates, and then you can learn like 100 German words easily in one day. Oftentimes we mix up English words with German verb forms. Verbs in the infinitive always end with en, like laufen, spielen, and then we take English verbs such as to like and add this German type of ending. Liken is a very common German word, or googeln. So you see German and English mix up with each other a lot. However, beware, because there are lots of similar sounding words or even same spelled words with totally different meaning. For instance, Gift, like as a present, means poison in German. Or after, like as a preposition, after dinner I will go to the gym. After in German means anus. Or mist, like a fog. In German is something like damn it, but more a mild version of it would be more something like oh sugar, if somebody says oh mist. The last positive point, which I'm going to point out, there's certainly more, is that it's very easy to read German because it's exactly read as it is spelled. So if you know the German alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, blah blah blah, then you can basically pronounce over 90% of the words. Of course there are also exceptions. Sometimes words are pronounced with an English pronunciation, as I said, or even French, like the word engagement, which means dedication or devotion, because it is a French loan word. Now let's talk about the flip side, the difficulties. And of course it begins with grammar. What I mean by that is in German you have grammatical gender, which means every noun has a gender, either masculine, feminine or neuter. And according to every gender you have an equivalent article that comes with the noun. Der is masculine, die is feminine, das is neuter. In English you just say the table, but in German it's der Tisch. It's masculine because Tisch is masculine. It would be wrong to say das Tisch. And the hard part is you just have to know the gender of every noun. But there are certain rules to it which you can learn by heart, and you can cover already, let's say 60–70% of all nouns that you come across with. For instance, words with the ending ion, like Religion or Region, they are always feminine. Die Religion, the religion, but it's feminine. Or words that end with OR, or like Motor, the engine, is masculine. Der Motor or months are always masculine. Der Februar, der Dezember, der Juni. So there are some tables on the web that come in very handy for you, and you don't have to learn the gender of every noun by itself. And yet sometimes there are exceptions of exceptions of exceptions. For instance, the word das Mädchen. Mädchen means girl. And very often the obvious gender in terms of sex is also the grammatical gender. Like der Mann, man is masculine. Die Frau is feminine, the woman. But Mädchen is girl and it's neuter, das Mädchen. Don't ask me why, you just have some of those exceptions. However, the grammatical gender has nothing to do with the biological gender. Then we also decline nouns and conjugate verbs, same as pronouns. Their ending always alters depending on their function in the sentence. We have a system of cases, whereas in English you just have an object. Okay, you can distinguish between a direct and an indirect object, but in German you have dative object, accusative object, but then you also have genitive case and nominative case. Especially the distinction between accusative case and dative case is very difficult for foreigners to grasp. And talking of foreigners learning German, as a native you can identify foreigners straight away by using wrong grammar. Somebody can even have a very, very clean pronunciation, but as soon as they only use one article wrong, the wrong article for a noun, it's already sufficient to know he is not a native speaker. Because this is the most common mistake foreigners do, that they mix up articles, which I don't judge them for because it's just really, really difficult. Lastly, the pronunciation is also very difficult to pull off for German learners, especially for English-speaking learners, because we have some sounds in German that simply do not exist in English. Same as vice versa, we don't have the th, the sound in German. But on the other hand side, you don't have the sound r, like the R sound, as we have in German in English. We say schwierig, schwierig. In English you would say schwierig, r, r. It's like, it's scratchy in the back of the throat, like but a bit softer and a mild version of it. Like schwierig, schwierig. And foreigners often say schwierig. So it's very difficult to learn, and especially sh and you don't just have one type of like lachen, lachen. You use another type of ch in ich, lachen, ich. There is a difference. So it's extremely difficult. We're recording a video. Some lights in the back, you know what I'm saying? Now, after hearing all this, is German worth it learning? I don't know. It's just a personal question. Let's assume I would be born in Australia and I would only know English. I would probably not decide to learn German. Because it's just a question of taste and preference, because I would rather learn a language that is spoken more. But also some people rather decide to learn the language that they think sounds nice and has a nice culture that they want to connect with. And it also depends on how far you want to go. You can easily learn a few hundred words in German, and you also can get to a degree where you understand a lot quite swiftly. But if you come to producing and speaking the language yourself, it can be quite tricky. Anyway, I wish you all good fun and success. If you enjoy learning it, keep going. Du schaffst das. Alright, bye bye. Tschüss, auf Wiedersehen.